I went back to school, spent more money on an MBA, came out with making a little bit more money, but still no sign of financial freedom.
You turn the whole house into bedrooms and you rent by the room. Anything like that is going to be, successful.
Number one, the one we're talking about today is what, Kim?
Senior housing.
Traditional real estate investing is dead. Robert Kiyosaki and Ken McElroy think this is the solution.
The number one investment in real estate.
Be sure to watch until the end to uncover just how lucrative this housing solution can be.
Just market research, or did you have some people that were pointing you those places, or were you looking on U.S. Census data website stuff, or where did you?
Yeah. So great question. I started just fumbling, and I was very lucky to fall into having a great mentor. I now, after kind of looking at what made a good market and working with him, so he's who pointed me in the direction of St. Joseph, Missouri. And I actually coach to help people find different markets, but I have a whole system of looking at key KPIs. Nice. So for me, I always want to look at what has the change been in median home value, change in employment numbers, the change in median income, as well as crime rates. And I've also started to look at climate control or climate change issues. So there's a great website that shows probably about 5 or 6 different things that are impacted everywhere from the environment to the business aspect. So I've started to pay a little bit of attention to that as well in how I'm looking at different markets. So, but I always like to say, and I think this goes for, whatever you're purchasing for, there's no perfect market. The perfect market is a market that you're going to take action in. So you can get into analysis paralysis, but I like to say there's not a perfect market. There's just a bad deal in a good market. That's what you want to make sure avoiding, but it helps you narrow down where to start.
Awesome.
That's impressive stat. 70-ish rentals in the first, 2 or 3 years, and then 6 group homes in just 6 months. So what were you doing before real estate? I doubt this was your first foray into business and stuff like that.
I bought hook, line, and sinker into that American dream of, work hard, get good grades, get the corporate job, and you're going to have the American dream. And can't tell, a little type A. So straight A student, valedictorian, got the consulting job out of college, then worked in finance, private equity. And I was getting more into debt, getting raises, and still running in the rat race. And I went back to school, spent more money on an MBA, came out with making a little bit more money, but still no sign of financial freedom. And my blessing was at the time when COVID hit, I was doing sales working for a biotech company. So I was going around educating and working and building relationships in cancer centers. And so my job came to a screeching halt, but I was blessed to still be getting paid. And I wanted to find something else. I wanted another income stream. That desire more came out of boredom. I now see it was a blessing in disguise that I kind of was pointed at this. Okay, I need something else to do that's going to make me money while things get back to normal. And that's when I discovered real estate, just listening to podcasts like yours and doing research and reaching out to people, and got the bug. And after I bought my first property and saw it wasn't rocket science, as long as you follow the formulas that groups are teaching and reach out to mentors, really a great way to build towards that financial independence. So I had never done, if you had told me 4.5 years ago that I was going to be running my own business and taking the risk of an entrepreneur, I would have told you were crazy, because I'm very risk adverse. So if I can do it and take that plunge, I strongly encourage people that feel like it may not be in their comfort zone to explore it a little bit more.
Was there a book or a podcast that made a major shift in your thinking or anything like that? Or did you just kind of dive into it and learn along the way slowly? Or,
if anybody hasn't read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, you absolutely must and understand the difference between what is a liability and what is an asset, because I think we have that a little bit backwards here in the US and what we're taught to be, as the American dream. I also think Killing Sacred Cows, I know it's a very weird name, but it's kind of opened my eyes up to the fact that 401ks and IRAs and everything, they're fairly new. We haven't seen a generation build them up, retire, and live successfully off into the sunset on those. And they're not maybe everything that we think they are in terms of the security blanket. So I think that opened my eyes up too, to really light a fire under being more proactive in building that wealth and mindset and income stream. In terms of too, also, I think answering, resources, bigger pockets is a great one. Even just their forum, I think reaching out to people and saying, hey, here's what I'm thinking of doing and buying this house, group home. People are really excited and willing in that sort of community to give back and pay it forward. So I would definitely recommend people. That's another great resource you can turn to. Like many that have dove into this and looked at the basic long-term rental, a home run for a long-term rental is maybe after you put away for expenses. And I always do a month of vacancy. So I have 72 long-term rentals that I owned before pivoting to this. So I can speak pretty knowledgeably to what the cash flow looks like for a long-term rental. And maybe you're lucky for 150 because, you're going to go out, you've got your mortgage and market rate. If you're lucky, most markets is going to be a little bit more than your mortgage and your taxes and your interest rates, just because most people coming in to rent a home, they're hoping to stay there for an extended period of time. They're not dropping an extensive amount, huge amount of money like you might do for a week in an Airbnb or something. What a group home allows you to do is, we had these big, beautiful homes that made sense when we could make them experience and people were willing to pay prime dollar for a vacation home. But it did not make sense for someone who wanted to come along. And there's not a lot of people that wanted to come rent a 4 or 5 bedroom home, right? That's a pretty niche size family or group looking to live in their long term. And so your options are pretty slim, especially in what you can rent it for. What the group home option allows us to do is take a house that's big, but may not necessarily command a lot extra in long-term rent and literally break it down into beds. And so in our houses, we typically have 2 beds per bedroom. And if we can charge even anywhere from 125 for some of our homes up to 400 in other homes, depending on the market and the house, that instantly in just 2 or 3 bedrooms covers your mortgage and costs and then some. And everything after that in the other 2 to 3 bedrooms with each bed is all gravy. And so right there, it was kind of a no-brainer in the sense that we were going to be cash flowing negative if we tried to go with just market rent to a single family versus doing this approach and having income per bed.
I just want to clarify on that rate. You said 125 to 400.
Yes, a week per bed.
Correct.
Want to learn more about the future real estate? Sign up for your free training material at www.grouphomeriches.com.